Write your question in the Q&A. So we want to make sure that we now are using a webinar feature. So we want you to understand that the way we will be receiving questions, if you look at the very bottom of your screen, you'll see the letters Q&A. You will use Q&A to write in your questions. If you would like to ask your question live or out loud, please select the raise the hand button. And you can see at the very bottom again of your screen, you'll see the little hand, and you will press that and we will see your hand right next to your video, and we will call on you. So we will call your name as it appears on your video, and then we will unmute you so that you can ask your question live. The chat feature will not be available, and we ask that you please use the Q&A, as I just mentioned, and or the raise hand feature so that you can ask your question in either English or Spanish. We will try to our best to answer as many questions within the time that we have. Okay, and so just very briefly, these next norms. Presentation will be a webinar format, as I mentioned a few minutes ago. You will not be able to see each other, as you probably are accustomed to. Only the panelists that you see right now, which includes the interpreter, the guests, and also the facilitator, as well as Jonathan Castillo, who is also part of my team, and also our Zoom user. She is helping us out. Janae is helping us out with our Zoom tonight. The presenter will try to answer as many questions as possible as you use the Q&A and the raise the hand feature. We will call your name, as I mentioned earlier, stated on your video, and then we will unmute you. We are working with an interpreter for this session, so we thank you in advance for your patience with possible slight delays in some of the content delivery. We want to make sure that all attendees are receiving the information. Microphones of all attendees will be muted unless the attendees raise their hand to ask their question live. Complete the feedback form to be entered into a drawing for giveaway prizes. So at the very end of our session this evening, as soon as Ms. Brooks completes her presentation, she will exit our presentation and we will move forward with asking you to please complete a feedback form and also to enter into a giveaway prizes. And I will mention those a little bit later. And then finally, just sharing here the website where you can find more information about our future sessions. These are the list of the giveaways for later on. Again, we have family 4-pack free admission tickets to the zoo. We have a few prizes there. So we are going to have a drawing for 6 different prizes, and you see them listed on your screen. Also including 2 different Walmart gift cards and also a $25 gift card from Nice Slice, which is a pizza restaurant right near the administration office. And then later we will arrange for pickup. And then finally, these are just future workshops that are happening up until this Wednesday for March, but we will have other workshops that are happening in April. But just so that you are aware, the last workshop for this month will be this coming Wednesday, which is named Paying and Saving for College. Okay, so Clarice, I'm sorry.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you so much, Janet. I really appreciate it. I'm very excited to be here. Anytime I have the opportunity to talk about reading, I am all in. So thank you so much for inviting me.
You're very welcome. Clarice, before you get started, we're going to do a very quick poll right now. We want to actually understand. We have 75 people that are on our call right now, parents. So we want to make sure that we understand how did they learn about our parent academy this evening, okay? So we're going to do that very quickly. For those of you on the call, look at the question. How did you hear about tonight's workshop? ¿Cómo se enteró del taller de esta noche? If you can just press either one or a couple, we just again want to understand what communication efforts, strategies that we're using right now to make sure that you get this information, what's working for you. Yes. Yes, so we're going to get started in a few minutes. Again, this question is very important to us because we want to make sure that the different ways that we are communicating the Parent Academy, that we continue to do, the same modalities of communication, but also for us to think through about the ways that we should improve. And so taking just a few minutes to complete this is going to be very helpful for us. Okay, sure. So please take the few seconds. I'm going to do a countdown now. Okay, so 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Thank you so much for those of you who were able to answer that important question for us. Thank you so much. Clarice, please move forward. Thank you so much for your patience.
Absolutely. I'm just going to share my screen.
Yep.
Okay, and I'm going to take just a moment to introduce myself. I work with the Providence Public Schools, and my title is Interim Director of Curriculum Implementation and Supervisor of Literacy. But for me at this moment, that is the least important thing about me. What I do find to be important is that I am a daughter of immigrants. My parents came to this country from the island of St. Martin in the Caribbean. I am one of 7 children, and I grew up in New York City. My parents worked all the time. My dad had 2 or 3 jobs at certain times, but he always made sure that reading and education was an important part of our lives. My mother worked as well, and she worked as a mom, and she also worked out of the house. So, but there was one thing that with my parents that was very important is, how are my children reading? How are they doing in school? And you can imagine that they were both very, very busy. So they really counted on the schools to make sure that we were doing what we were supposed to be doing. And that's why this night is so important to me. I am now on the other side of that. I am the schools, and I'm having the opportunity to share with parents certain ways that they can, certain things that they can do with their children that will make reading a part of their lives forever. I know that many of the parents on this call already are very active in their children's lives, in their children's reading lives, I should say. So for them, maybe it'll be a great time for them to see a little bit about how our ARC curriculum works. And ARC stands for American Reading Company. So I will continue by sharing a little bit of information about that.
Clarice, just a reminder, so we do have the interpreter. So just as you speak, if you could just speak a little bit slower, that way she'll make sure.
Am I a quick speaker? Okay, I know. I will definitely keep that in mind. So the first thing that I will say is that I want the parents to know that previously in the Providence schools, each school had the autonomy to select whichever curriculum, as long as it was a highly qualified, high quality curriculum, they had the opportunity to choose that curriculum. We decided beginning this year to work with one curriculum throughout grades K to 8, and that brings several benefits to it. First of all, if your child is to move from one school to another, they will still be working with the same curriculum. They will not have to engage with a brand new one, and get used to things all over again. They'll be used to what they are working with in their current school. Secondly,
Clarice, excuse me, I'm sorry, that's Delia. You see her on the on your screen?
I do not see Delia.
Oh, you don't? She doesn't see you, Delia. Okay, so this is going like this. Just if you,
oh, now I see her. Okay, I scrolled down, so I'm too fast.
Just
I will slow down.
Okay, she'll give you the hints. Okay.
Okay, I see her now. Awesome. So as I was saying, in addition to providing continuity to our students, regardless if they move from one school to the next, it also allows us to engage all of our teachers in like professional learning. So all of our teachers are working together on the same curriculum, K to 8, grade level appropriate, and they're able to plan together, share work together, talk about student work and learning together, and that makes it for a much more powerful district. The entire district is talking about it now, the teachers, the administrators, the students. So we have one voice around this curriculum, and it has been very helpful so far. So, and in addition to that, it gives the opportunity for the district to review where students are. We regularly take a look. We have a platform, an electronic platform that we can look and we could see where each child is in the district using this particular curriculum and assess to what extent they're moving along and progressing as they should be. So I'll tell you a little bit more about it. How does it begin? Well, we start off by getting an assessment of where your child is with his or her reading. Are they on grade level? If they're not on grade level, what kind of things are holding them back? Is there a problem with a shift in tense when they read a book? Is it a problem with understanding how commas sometimes break up the sentence or endings on words? What is it that's keeping your child back from being where they should be? Or if your child is on target, how can we continue to have your child be on target? So we begin by giving what's called an assessment, an independent reading level assessment, or the IRLA, as it is also called. I thought it might be interesting for the parents to see how their child is assessed, what it looks like. So I know that we have parents on this call whose children range from either kindergarten to grade 8. So I decided to choose a short video clip of someone right in the middle. So I have a 4th grader. But the test is similar regardless of which grade you're in. It's just grade level appropriate. So what you're going to see here now is a short clip of a 4th grade student taking the IRLA assessment. And I'll fast forward it just a bit.
Well, I just started reading it, so I kind of don't know that much information about it yet.
So first they will take a look at certain words that he can or cannot read.
A list of words, and I want you to read across the page this way. We're going to try probably 2 or 3 of these words, okay? All right, get started here. Ham, hamster, hammering, cereal, and man, candle, candlelight, piano, and sandy, can understand, handicap, at, battle, scratching, attention. Let's go to the comments. Scratching, misguiding, scratching, invited, spitting, upsetting, basketball, forgotten, strawberry, screen, Hillary, Dr. Wellington, ignorant, shameful, playful, mistaken, two-page.
Now they're going to ask him to read a passage.
And then I'll ask you some questions. Okay. There are many kinds of and sizes of adult snakes. All snakes have the same basic body parts. Snakes have a tongue that is used for smelling, not tasting. A snake's entire body is covered with scales. Snakes slide along the ground using their stomach muscles. In the winter, most adult snakes hibernate or sleep. When they wake up, they hunt for food. In the spring, they lay eggs or have babies. A new snake life cycle begins. Okay, and then tell me 3 things that the text says about snakes. That they use their stomach muscles to move. That most adult snakes hibernate, and in the spring they lay eggs or have babies. Mhm. And when snakes hunt for food, which body parts might they use? The tongue, because it said that they use their tongue for smelling. Mhm. And the second part of that question you already answered. So what in the text made you think that? Where did you see that? Right here it says that so it says that snakes have a gum that is used for smelling, not tasting.
Okay.
The wasp system.
Okay, so I'm sorry, I just had a little trouble closing this. So as you could see there were a few things that the teacher was taking a look at. She was looking at how well he could read certain words that are typically seen at a particular grade level. There was perhaps some endings on words or letter blends, like BR, brown, or BR, bright. Does he have any difficulties with reading letters, with reading words where there are a blend of letters at the beginning of the word, at the middle of the word, or at the end of the word? That lets her know to what extent he is reading words at that particular grade level. You'll also notice that she asked some basic comprehension questions. Tell me 3 things that happened in this story. Basic recall. What is something that occurred? Well, this occurred, and this occurred. So it shows that he understands what is happening in the story as he's reading. The other thing that she asked is some inferential questions that he would have to support with textual evidence. And that's a little bit more higher level. So by doing this, she's able to see, is he able to read a book at this particular level or not? If he is, then that's wonderful. And he will move on and test a little bit higher and a little bit higher until she sees where he's beginning to have a little bit of a struggle. Or she'll see that perhaps there is a gap. This is where he's supposed to be for 4th grade, but this is where he's reading right now. So when that gap occurs, what happens is we have to work to fill that gap. And what I'm going to focus on right now are some of the things that we do to do that with your child.
So Clarice, we just relative to what you just mentioned, just have one question. What grade level does the assessment go? Would it assess if the child is far above their own grade level? And if so, would it tell you which grade level they're at? Also, does the teacher accommodate that level even if the class is at a lower level?
Yeah, the answer to those 3 questions is yes. We have students who I'm just going to pick a grade, let's say it's 6th grade or 3rd grade, whatever, who test well above, either at that grade level or above that grade level or above it. So do we have accommodations to make sure that that child is then working at the level that they are at, which is above grade level? Absolutely, we do. We make sure that that child is regularly working with level text for where they are, and we work to move them even further. Was there another question? Let me make sure I got all of them. That was it? Yes, absolutely, absolutely. So let me go back to sharing.
We have a couple of hands raised. I'm not sure
Okay.
if you're so I know we have Carlita Corsino.
Sí,
Carlita, if you wanna,
por ejemplo, hola. Por
Hola.
ejemplo, yo tengo 4 hijos y así mismo lo tengo en diferentes niveles. Tengo en middle school, tengo en high school y tengo en, no recuerdo el
Primaria.
nombre, pero cuando están
Primaria.
pequeños,
Primaria.
primaria, sí. Entonces, tengo uno de mis hijos el que está en primer grado. A él no le gusta la escuela. Yo no sé ya la manera de cómo intentar que él le guste la lectura, porque lo de él es todo computadora. Dice que sus maestros dicen que la mejor forma de estudiar es con la computadora porque aprenden 2 veces. So, ¿me puede dar un consejo que para yo saber cómo hablarle? Porque la verdad es un niño muy hiperactivo, pero no le gustan los libros normales de hoja.
Okay. Jonathan.
So Carlota was saying that she has children in different age levels, middle school, high school, and I believe elementary school. And she's having difficulty with having her child take interest in reading, especially now with the reading happening on screen time, and he doesn't traditionally like reading on paper either. So she wanted to know some tips that she can get to get him to enjoy reading.
Well, actually, okay, I don't know what that is. Sorry about that. Actually, I'm sorry, I don't know why there's this, excuse me just a moment. Excuse me for just one moment. I apologize for that interruption. Please excuse
okay.
me. Actually, Carlotta, one of the segments of my presentation is going to have, a lot of it, as a matter of fact, has to do with ways to help your child with reading, especially if they are someone who does not usually enjoy reading. So I think you're going to like that part. That's in just a couple of slides coming up.
Okay.
Okay.
What we'll do is that we'll let you keep going,
any
Clarice, and then
questions?
Clarice, we'll let you keep going, and then we'll take some more raised hands, okay? We'll let you keep going with your presentation. Can you hear me, Clarice? Can you hear us?
I can hear you now.
Okay. Yeah, we'll let you keep going with your presentation, and then we'll take more questions, okay?
Okay.
Go right ahead.
And I will come back to. Seems like we're having a technical difficulty. I'm not sure why.
Clarice, turn your Clarice, it looks like turn your sound off. Okay.
Okay.
Okay, Clarice, this looks like YouTube. You have to close it out. There we go.
I'm not sure what's happening with the technology. We had a little technical problem there. I'm sorry if it was on my end. I apologize. I'm not sure what went wrong.
Okay, go right ahead.
Okay, all right. So we got an opportunity to see the ERLA. And what happens then, as I said before, if we see that there is a gap, what we do then is we assign power goals to the students one at a time. And a power goal is a specific skill that the child will work on that will help them begin to fill the gap that exists between where they are and where they need to be. Or it will help them to move forward if they're on grade level or above grade level. So that is something that is carefully selected based on the assessment that was done in the ERLA. So excuse me, let me go back one. So some questions that you should be able to ask your child are right here. These are questions that your child should be able to answer about the particular power goal that he or she is working on. You'll, after meeting with the child in a one-to-one session, you will see that the child should then know what their goal is, what they have to do to meet that goal, and what they will be able to do once they meet it. So it's important to us that the child is brought in on his or her education and is fully aware of what they are tasked to do to become stronger readers. How often do teachers meet with their students? Well, if we see that a child is at an emergency level, that means that perhaps they are at a level where they are 2 or more years below grade level, they'll meet at least twice per week with their teacher to have these ongoing meetings to assess where they are, how they're meeting their goals, and what next steps need to be taken. If they're at the at-risk level, slightly below grade level, then they'll have a meeting with the teacher at least once per week. And if they are at the proficient level, they will meet at least once every 2 weeks. And I do want to stress at least. I want to stress at minimum, because it's actually more than that. But we make sure that this is the minimum amount of times that your child meets with the child, that your teacher meets with the student in order to have a very intense session to see where they are, how they're practicing the goals that were set aside for them, and practicing the skills that they were shown that they need to work on. So this is something that you can actually talk with your child about at home. You can ask them, what did you discuss in your conference, your one-to-one conference with your teacher this week? What goal are you working on? What are you doing to help meet that goal? That's something that you can talk with your child about at home, because this is something that is regularly happening in the classroom. Your child is also given a skills card. And on this card, you'll see that over here, that these are the particular skills that your child is working on. Now, I was asked a question before, what about if the child is above grade level? What if they're at grade level or above? Then the skill card that they're given will match the level that they are currently at. And it will also highlight the skills that they need to regularly engage in to get to the next level, based on wherever they are. In this particular case, we see that on the ERLA, the child seemed to have had some trouble with with word blends. They seem to have had trouble with DR words, draw, drive. They got stuck on words like that. So they're purposely going to read some text with these types of word blends and letter blends, and they're going to become much more proficient at that. And there are some key grade level words that they will also work on. So another question that you can ask your child when they come home is, where is your skills card? Can you show me your skills card and let me know what particular skills you're working on right now? Can you show me in your book some of the particular words that you were having trouble with before, but that you're now understanding? So please definitely ask your child for their skills card and take a look at what their particular specific skills are that they should be working on at this time. We also provide a home connection letter. And this is a letter that each of you should receive at least once per quarter, if not more. The home connection letter tells you a lot of information about your child. It lets you know some of the things that your child is doing well right now. It lets you know specific things that your child should be working on. And it gives you some tips. I'm going to show you an example of the home connection letter now. So I hope that you can all see this. I hope that it is large enough. Is it large enough, Jonathan, on the screen? Or like,
It's not. It can get enlarged a little bit more, but I can see it.
you can see it well? Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So this lets you know up here, basically what grade level your child tested in. So this is an example of a home letter of a child who tested in what's called 1B. And that's about in the middle of first grade. So perhaps that child is currently in first grade and is reading on target. Perhaps the child is ending kindergarten or just starting first grade and is reading above level. Or perhaps the child might be in second grade, but is still reading on a first grade level. So it could be a variety of different things that are happening here. So as I said before, the first thing that the home letter will let you know is, what are some things that your child is doing well? Okay, so we see here that he has read and understood 18 books throughout this year. We see that he's able to read one-syllable words with fluency. So we see here that this is something that he is doing very well at. We'll scroll down. We want him to move up to the next level. So according to his ERLA and according to what we see when we work with him, these are the specific things that he has to be able to do in order to move up to the next level. It mentions here that he needs to read and understand level 2B books without help. That's the next level of books. And the key words there are without help. He has to be able to chunk unknown 2-syllable words. So we see perhaps he's, before it mentioned that he reads 1-syllable words well, we want to get him to the 2-syllable word. Next, he has to be able to correct errors when reading on his own and be able to make sense of what he's reading. All right. Next thing is, what can you do at home? So here is where you have some tips. When your child is stuck, these are some questions that you can ask him or her. And you want to make sure that your child is reading regularly at home. So what they recommend are some books that your child can engage in. Here are 5 titles that they are recommending that your child reads next, based on their current level and the level that we want to get them to next. Okay. Here are some questions that you can ask your child as they read, and you can see if they're able to answer with some fluency and if they're able to point out certain things in the text. And here they let you know, these are some things you don't have to worry about right now. He's doing okay with these things. These are just some questions here that you can ask that will be helpful. The area where your child is currently placed is highlighted. This is where he's currently reading, and this is where we want to move him to. So we see, as I said before, he reads 1-syllable words well, play. But when he gets to words with endings on it, player, playfully, that's where he starts to make some errors. So we showed him during our one-to-one conference, this is how you add the ending on the word. Let me hear you say it. I'm going to say it first. Let me hear you say it. The book that I'm going to recommend to you has some endings in it. And I want you to practice. And when you get to these endings, I want you to say them. I'm going to be meeting with you regularly. And as I meet with you, I want to hear some of those endings as we read. Here, they offer some tips. And I have some more tips coming up in a few minutes on another slide of some things that you can do at home. The letter is offered in different languages. As you see here, it is in Spanish. So the same information that I just showed you in English is here now repeated in Spanish. And they talk to you a little bit about how you can, some particular tips that you can have do at home to make reading fun. And as I said, I have a few more suggestions for you on an upcoming slide. And this lets you know which unit your child is in and what are some things that are being studied in that unit. So every family has the home connection letter that was sent to you. And as I said, you should get it at least once per quarter, if not more. Your child's teacher can send it to you even multiple times within the quarter. Each time your child moves up a level, they may want to say, hey, they're now at this level. This is where they started in September. This is where they are now. These are the things that we're working on next to move them further along. So I would love to hear some of your experiences with the home connection letter and how you discussed it with your child when you received it, or if you have any questions about the home connection letter. So I'll stop for a moment. I just welcome any questions or responses.
So Clarice, so we do have several comments parents have made with regard to this letter, this parent letter. So a parent said, I have never seen this home letter. We're supposed to receive one per quarter.
Mm-hmm.
That's what you mentioned.
Yes.
Another parent, will we receive this home letter so that we know what level our child tested in? If so, when? 3 or 4 of the year have already passed, and I'm not exactly sure which grade level my child reads at, or will this be implemented next year?
Mm-hmm.
And another related question regarding the parent letter, we don't see any of these things coming home with our second grader. We just had a conference with the teacher and none of this came up. What would you suggest?
Okay. That's why I enjoy doing these sessions so much. First, if you have not received your home letter, and I do know that many families have because I get letters of thanks, you know, I like the home letter, etc. But if you have not received your home letter or haven't seen it yet, then what I suggest you do is email your child's school, ask, you know, I have not received the letter, you know, why have I not received it yet? I would like very much to get this letter. They should be able to provide it to you immediately, because it's something that can be printed out from ARC and sent to you, sent home that very day.
Okay.
So please, please certainly ask for it. Ask for it tomorrow.
Okay. So we have another two questions, not related to the parent letter, if you don't mind.
Mhm.
We had one question is, do all students get a skills card that you mentioned earlier?
Yes, all students should get a skills card. And sometimes students prefer, like if there's one or two things that they're working on, sometimes students prefer to write the skills down in their notebook. So you may see it written or you may see it in a card.
Okay. You mentioned earlier about the assessments, when and where it will be given, the test. It will
Yes,
be in person or online?
both. If your child is, if your child attended school at the beginning of the year online in the virtual learning academy, then it was administered online. If your child is in the school building, then it was administered in person with the teacher there.
Okay.
And that was done at the beginning of school. Like basically, because we started school a little bit later this year, so around the months of October and early November is when the assessment was given.
Okay. Another question. This parent has a student that's in 7th grade. Question is, how does a teacher, or how can a teacher help or offer for gifted students? He is super in reading and writing. Is there any program can student join in?
Yes, well, as I said before, we have students who do test well above level and they then are given goals that are congruent with where they currently are. So if I'm a 6th grade student and I'm reading on a 9th grade level, then we would recommend higher grade level books to that child and skills for that child to work on.
Okay, great. We did have one parent that mentioned she did get the parent letter.
Mhm.
She actually did not get the, I'm sorry, correction. She didn't get the parent letter, but she did receive the skills paper
The skills card.
at the conference. Are all schools doing this home letter already? Can we access this online on our own?
It does have to be sent to you by the school because they have to plug in the child's information to print the letter out for that particular child. But it's something that can be done very quickly and sent home that same day.
Okay, we have a question here in Spanish also related to the letter. Esta carta de conexión de familia no la he recibido. Ahora bien, es para todos los estudiantes, no importa si están en middle school or high school. Gracias. So is this this letter, the parent letter, she hasn't received it yet, but she's wondering if, again, this is a letter that is provided to middle and high school as well?
The American Reading Company is in our district in grades K through 8. So if her child is in any of our elementary schools or middle schools, it is available that way. At the high schools, there are different curricular resources being used right now, so they have different ways of contacting the parents. And next year, we will be using across the district one curriculum at the high school level. It's not ARC, it's not the American Reading Company, it is a different one, but there are, they do have family home connection information in that as well. So that's something that will be coming up in the next school year. But I do want to stress that anytime a parent wants information on their child, they should be able to receive it and receive it readily, whether it's something that can be printed out from the curricular resource company, or whether it is something that is taken notes on in the classroom. So if you have a question about how your child is doing in the class and what skills they need to work on in order to improve their reading and writing levels, or any content level for that matter, you should receive that information in an expedited way.
Okay. So other than meeting with the classroom teacher, what other resources are available to kids that are behind in K to 5? Is dedicated sessions with another instructor?
Yes, many times, yes, we do have a lot of one-to-one work with students. Many schools have additional tutoring sessions with them. We do give suggestions to families on how to assist with reading at home or math or whatever the content area is. So each school has ways, and they do meet regularly with parents. We have 22 elementary schools and 7 middle, and they each do regularly meet with parents, and on their webpage, they also let them know ways that they can get additional tutoring and find out about how their child is doing in the classroom.
Okay, so we will hold on asking a few other questions for now, so we want you to keep going.
I love the questions, and I'm glad that the parents have some things to look for and some questions that they can talk with about their child, and with their child's teacher. So I welcome the questions. Okay, so as you see here, a child is assessed, and this is just some skills for the sake of taking a look at how skills build. They are given a power goal, they work on that power goal, they get to the next level. They're assessed again, they work on the power goal, they get to the next level. They're given a new power goal, they work to the next level. And this is just a simple diagram of how that basically works. All right, they're given a specific power goal at a time to work on. And if they work regularly on that, you will definitely see your child's reading levels increase. Now, I was asked before by a parent about how they can get their child to read more, and I welcome that question. One of the things with reading is you want to be interested in the books that you are reading. It's very hard to be interested in reading especially when you're getting off the ground with reading, if it's something that you're not always interested in. Now, eventually, we will all have to read things that we're not always interested in. Okay, I mean, that's just part of life that we have to do. But getting a child off the ground with reading, we want them to really sink their teeth into it. So ARC makes sure that their books relate to every child. I know when I was growing up, there were no books that looked like me. There were no characters that looked like me. All the characters looked like, other people, but not like me. And I remember the first time I got a book with a character who looked like me, I was very excited. So there's a tremendous amount of variety in the books, and they do a lot of work in making sure that that happens. There's a lot of titles for boys because there were complaints in the past that some books that were often introduced at the early ages mostly applied to girls. So we make sure that there's a wide range of topics, a wide range of adventure books, of fantasy books, of all different types of books, so that every child in the classroom will find something that looks like them, that is of their interest, that they want to read more about. So that's just one answer to that question. One thing that I would recommend to the mother who asked before about her child is not really interested in reading is sometimes if you introduce your child to a series where they will see the character in a series of books, that very much hooks them in. So let's say that you're reading to your child. I put this one here. This was one of my favorite books when I was growing up. And I would read one book. I remember my sister reading the first one to me, and I fell in love with the character Ramona so much that I wanted to find out what happened to her in the next book. And I wanted to find out what happened to her in the next book, and the next book, and the next book, and the next book, etc. So sometimes introducing your child to a series makes them fall in love with a character. And they want to find out what happens to that character in the next one. and the next part of the series. And that is something that helps to hook them in and helps them want to read more. So that is just one suggestion. In order to, and that's a very important suggestion, because in order to improve in reading, your child has to read regularly. So I'd like to stop here just to take a poll to see what the average amount of time is that each person's child reads at home. So the question I have here, my child reads for blank minutes a day at home. I'd be interested in knowing how often a child reads at home. And Janet, I'll let you ask the question in Spanish.
Actually, Delia is interpreting, so she.
Okay,
Yeah.
wonderful.
Mhm. And just in case, I'll just remind a few parents with regard to the use of the Q&A. Again, just a reminder for families, we are writing just some quick statements on the chat. You can't write in there, but you can see what we're just trying to send you a message. So just reminding you for the Q&A, if you want to write your question, you can write it in English or in Spanish. And if you prefer to say your question out loud, you can please raise your hand and then we will call on you. We're going to wait till Clarice finishes her presentation because we know that we have a lot of questions.
Okay. So should we wait until they finish with the poll, or should
Yes,
we even come
yes,
back?
we're waiting a few more seconds.
Excellent.
I'm going to do a countdown just to see. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And we'll tell you the results now, Clarice. Just give me a second.
Most people said about 30 minutes.
Most people said about 30 minutes.
Excellent. That's wonderful. That's actually a very good amount of time to be reading. A minimum of 30 minutes per day is a good amount of time that you want to have your child reading uninterrupted and just enjoying their text. So I'm happy to hear that. Sometimes parents tell me, I'm really very, very busy. I can't always stop to listen to my child read. What are some things that I can do? And as I told you in the beginning, my parents, they had 7, so they were very, very busy. They worked and they were doing things. So they would do certain things to make sure that we kept up with the reading even while they were busy. So these next few slides are things that I wanted to share, some suggestions that I wanted to share, that even if you're working and you're very busy, you want to make sure that you make reading exciting in your home. I hope that you'll take some of these suggestions and that you'll create a lifestyle of reading in your home that your child will always remember. First of all, so many things are online now. So I want to show you that you can, on YouTube, you can type in read alouds. And if your child is reluctant to start reading, you may be able to draw them in by introducing them to a video where read alouds are done. And I will show you a small clip. Oops, sorry about that. I will show you a small clip of one.
If you guys have not heard of graphic related, then you are
Sorry.
totally missing out.
I'll use the middle school one that didn't have a commercial there before, so I'm sorry about that.
7th grade by Garrison. On the first day of school, Victor stood in line half an hour before he came to a wobbly card table. He was handed a packet of papers and a computer card on which he listed his one elective, French. He already spoke Spanish and English, but he thought someday he might travel to France where it was cool, not like Fresno, where summer days reached 110 degrees in the shade. There were rivers in France, huge churches, and fair-skinned people everywhere, the way there were brown people all around Victor. Besides, Teresa, a girl he had liked since they were in catechism classes at St. Teresa's, was taking French too. With any luck, they would be in the same class. Teresa is going to be my girl this year, he promised himself as he left the gym full of students in their new fall clothes. She was cute and good in math, too. Victor thought as he walked down the hall to his homeroom. He ran into his friend, Michael Torres, by the water fountain that never turned off. They shook hands, Raza style, and jerked their heads at one another in saludo de vato.
So you see, you can introduce your child, and there's all different levels of books being read online where the child can follow along with the reading as it is read. And it's read with passion so that it's interesting. You know, the person is really putting emphasis on certain things. And so if your child is a little bit reluctant with reading, you may want to get them hooked by having them take a look at a book being read online. And as I said before, perhaps if it's a book that's in a series, they will get hooked to that story and want to find out what happens next. And then they'll be excited to take a look at the next book in the series and the next book and the next books. There are literally thousands of books online. You can go to YouTube and just type in read aloud, and you could put a grade, read aloud kindergarten, or read aloud fourth grade, or read aloud eighth grade. And you will find a multitude of read aloud stories that come up. So that's one suggestion that you can do in your home. Another thing is to have a designated place in your home for your child to keep books that they like, and where they can go, where it's cozy, and where they can read and know that they're going to be uninterrupted. And let that time be uninterrupted. I make it a point. I have a son still at home, a high school son. And when he was growing up, I made it a point that when he was sitting on his little beanbag with his books, I did not disturb him to take out the garbage or to sweep his floor or to do anything. That was his reading time. He can do those other chores after. He was lost in a book. I want him to get lost in his book. I wanted him to just enjoy the time while he was in that book that he was enjoying and reading about the characters. So make sure that it is time that is uninterrupted and where the child can really sink some time into it. It's a little frustrating when you start to read something and it's good and you get a few pages in, then you have to stop and go do something else and then to come back to it. We want to show them, yes, this is your designated time. And that goes right here to this box right here. Make sure that it is uninterrupted and that nothing happens to interrupt that time. Also, sometimes when our child does something wonderful, we say, oh, guess you what? I'll get you a treat. Let's go get some ice cream, or I'll buy you this. What do you want to pick out? If we could get into the habit of saying, that was so great. I'm going to give you a treat. Let's go to the bookstore. Let's go hang out there and I'm going to let you choose a book. Take your time going through the stacks and choose one that you really, really like. We have to make reading a great thing, and our children will pick up on it being a great thing. We have to make it a gift. We have to make it exciting, and they will start to pick up on that. Some more suggestions. We videotape our children playing soccer. I have a million videotapes of my son playing soccer or playing baseball or whatever, or their dance recital. Children love to be videotaped, and they love to see it later on. How about if you were to record your child reading? Record your child reading. And then later on, play it back for your family. Oh my gosh, they'll love it. Sitting there reading, and they're the highlight. Mom, dad watching, siblings watching, and they will fight. It's my turn to read, it's my turn. So we have to make it exciting. Is there a relative? Right now, there's so many relatives that we cannot visit because of the pandemic. Can they make a video of them reading their favorite book and send that videotape to grandma or grandpa or auntie or uncle? And that's something they'd be excited about. We're going to make a videotape of you reading. This is something that's exciting. Oh my gosh, yes, they want to do that. Or just to see how they grow. you know, in September, you couldn't read this book. Now it's March, and look at how you advance. Children love to know that they're doing better with something. So that's a great opportunity for them to look at and look back on. And it's a fun keepsake for your family. So these are just a few more ways to make reading a little bit more exciting, as opposed to something that they have to do. Another one for you. Libraries. All of the libraries free books, and they all offer a multitude of things. For the small children, they have story hour. For the older elementary and middle school and high school, they have book clubs. And it's a lot of fun to read. It's a lot of fun. They sometimes do activities with the stories afterwards. They sometimes do engaging projects. And for the entire family to go to the library together, that is a very powerful thing. Imagine everybody getting their library card. And all you need for a library card is proof of address and an identification card, driver's license or anything with your picture on it. For most students, their school ID. So that's all you need, that and proof of address. And that will give you an opening to so many different activities. And even if you are not able to go to the library regularly with your children, just talking to them about it, making it a big deal that they got a library card. Have a day when they go to the library. And I know that in my family, it was Wednesday, because that's the day that my mother got home from work early. She got off much earlier that day. So we all, after school, were able to go to the library for 2 hours or so. And then on Saturday for the book club. So that's something that I highly, highly recommend. So let me just stop right there for a moment. And I would love to take a look at the next poll. I mentioned a few things. I would love to hear some more ideas. I would love to hear how some of the families on this were in this workshop today make reading exciting in their homes. So I'll give you some time to work on this poll.
This is great, Clarice. Thank you so much for sharing this. We're definitely going to learn from our families that are still on this call. We have about 80 parents on the call, so this is going to be great information. And we also have some questions, so we're just going to let you finish.
Mm-hmm.
We can spend the rest of the time with you answering some of the questions, okay? Yes. So I just want to remind everyone again, the questions that are on the screen, if you can please participate, we want to hear from you. We have, we have some families that have responded, but we want most families responding. So please, we're going to get ready for a countdown, but we would like for you to participate. It's just going to take a second. To me. We're going to start counting down in a few minutes. So please, if you can participate. Okay, great. So I'm going to count down 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1.
I can't wait to hear some of the other ideas. I'm excited about this.
The top answers were asking questions about what the child read. Get feedback, so you have to
Okay.
asking questions about what the child read.
So asking questions about what the child read.
Having the child read out loud to the parent were the top two.
So the top two was letter A and letter C.
Wonderful.
Read out loud was 1. Yeah, to the parent. And what was the other one?
Asking the parent asking questions about what the child is reading.
Yes. Okay, so yes, when the parent is asking the child questions about what they were reading.
Awesome. Those are all very powerful things because they love to talk about what they're reading. And once it's something that's done regularly, it becomes a habit for them. And reading just becomes part of their life then. So thank you very much, parents, for that information. It's very helpful to me, and I enjoyed hearing your responses. So I'm going to leave with this quote. A minute. Once you learn to read, you will be free forever. And this was stated by Frederick Douglass, who is a hero of mine and who did not learn to read until he was, older, of course, and had to learn how to read in secret. But we can read out loud. We can read out loud and we can celebrate it and we can talk about our reading. Reading is power. So I hope that every parent who is on this call got some information tonight that is that they can definitely use. I hope that each of you are able now to talk with your child about the specific power goal that your son or daughter is working on right now. I hope that you can ask your child to see the skills card that gives the child some tips to work on as they work on their power goal. I hope that you will ask for the home engagement letter if you did not receive it yet. I hope that you will, ask for it and we'll give you some ideas. And long term, those are some immediate goals that I want you to have. But long term, I hope that some of the ideas that were suggested to you tonight to create an exciting home atmosphere with books is something that you've got some ideas from and that you are excited about putting a new idea that you got tonight into place in your own home. So I thank you, and I thank Ms. Pichardo for inviting me. Janet, thank you so much. This was my pleasure. And sorry about the technical difficulty earlier. I'm very sorry about that.
No worries.
I welcome any questions or comments now, and I will turn it back over to you.
Yeah, so we have a few parents that have raised their hands. Jonathan will call on them, and then we do have some Q&A, and then I'll ask you about it.
Okay, so we have Maria who has her hand raised and has a question for Clarice.
Maria? Maria, you have to unmute yourself. María, active su micrófono, por favor.
Okay. Yo tenía una pregunta. ¿Por qué fue tan fácil conectarme hoy en la reunión de hoy y en otra que me conecté y me fue tan difícil conectarme a la reunión de la conferencia para los padres con los profesores? Nunca me dijeron te mandamos el link, nunca pude conectarme, por más que traté no pude hacerlo.
So you want me to translate that, Janet? So mom just had a question. She wanted to know why it was so easy to connect to this meeting, but there was parent-teacher conferences that just happened, and it was a little difficult for her to connect to those meetings. But this one seemed simpler.
Well, that's definitely a technology question. I'm not sure why that happened. I know that that each school set up a way for the parents to connect. And I'm sorry that Maria had difficulty in connecting with her child's school for the parent-teacher conference. But like I said before, and I really mean it, if you still have any questions, if Maria, if you were not able to make the connection with your child's teacher, then I would like you to still contact the school and say, I want to have a meeting set up when I can have the opportunity to talk with my child's teacher. I have some questions and I was not able to get through on the night that they had the teacher parent conferences.
Thank you very much for sharing that response, Clarice. That is a reminder to all of our families that are on the call that while we have designated dates for parent-teacher conferences, that does not mean that that's the only day that you can meet with your child's teacher, either on Zoom or in person. It does take coordination, but it's not the only day. So unfortunately, Maria, if you were not able to log on to the Zoom, please make sure that you initiate that conversation with your child's teacher, because I'm sure that you might have some questions, and that's why you mentioned it. Okay.
So we also have Beatrice Serrano, who has a question with her hand raised. Beatrice, if you want to take off your mic from mute.
Beatriz, por favor, si puede activar, ahí vamos. Siga.
No, todo está bien.
¿No tiene alguna pregunta? Por eso tiene la manita.
No.
Ok.
No, sin interés.
Está bien. Ok, gracias.
Thank you, Beatrice.
Okay.
Do you want to take a couple more? We
You
have
go ahead. Go
yeah,
ahead.
there's about three more
Go ahead.
raised hands. Zulfikar, I'm sorry if I'm pronouncing it wrong.
Hey, hi, good evening. My kids are in second and first grade. Okay, they are reading well as per their level. Okay, I just want to know, okay, how to improve their writing skill. Okay,
Yeah.
they are, yeah.
Yes. You know, there's
Clarice, I'm sorry, Clarice. We just want to translate that for families. Okay. Para los padres que están en la llamada, es solamente para dejarles saber, la pregunta fue que él sabe que sus hijos escriben, que leen bien con la lectura, pero él quiere saber algunos consejos para la mejoría de escribir, de escrituras.
Yes. Okay, there's so much more that I wanted to show tonight, but I was only able to, fit certain things in the span of time that I had. So I focused on the reading tonight, but I will tell you, sir, that a lot of writing is also done in it. When the teacher does whole class work, that in other words, when the teacher is teaching the lesson, they will absolutely do work in writing. And the students have to create some of their own books, some of their own projects where they have to do a lot of writing. So the teacher will demonstrate a certain level of writing in what's called a whole class format, where the entire class is focused on her. Earlier, I spoke about one-to-one conferences. Sometimes they have one-to-one conferences with the child, but they also have small group conferences, and they also have whole group. So the teacher will definitely do instruction in grade level writing that the students get to practice, and he or she will then work with your child to assess the level that the child is writing at and show them ways to bring the writing up to the next level as well. So that's something I did not get the chance to go into tonight because I was trying to fit a lot into a little bit of time, but that's a very, very good question that you asked, and that the writing, speaking at grade level, because we want them speaking at grade level as well, and being able to speak about things that's at the grade level that they are in, that they're currently in, listening, writing, reading, and thinking critically about all of those things together. All of those things are combined in this curriculum and regularly practiced in the classroom. So, and then also reading grade level work helps your child to see what writing looks like at that grade level. So that's why we regularly during the whole class time have them work with texts that are at grade level, and that where they get to see regular examples of writing at that particular grade level that they're in, or above if they tested above, as I said before.
Just want to remind folks to not to leave, because as soon as Clarice is finished answering the questions, we are going to move forward with some of our prizes and our drawing. Okay, so please stay on the call. And so again,
We
we have one or two raised hands, and then we're going to go straight into the Q&A. Go ahead.
Yep, we have two raised hands, so we're gonna go with Carlota again, Carlota Corsino. Carlota, if you can unmute yourself.
Carlota, active su micrófono, por favor.
Sí, la pregunta mía es sobre algo que ella mencionó en YouTube para poder el niño a leer. So que ella dijo read, no me recuerdo qué, y quiero buscarlo.
Okay.
Read
Ella
aloud.
dijo read out loud, right, Jonathan?
Allah.
Yes. Okay.
Me lo puede escribir en...
So she had a question about the YouTube reading that you had brought up earlier. You had mentioned read, and then she wasn't sure what was the second word.
Aloud.
So
Yes. Yeah. So if you go to YouTube, you can type in read aloud and a particular grade level, and you will get a whole list of things that you can let your child listen to out loud.
Entonces, Carlota, ella dice, yo lo voy a apuntar ahora. Esa es lo que Jonathan puso ahora en el chat, ¿verdad? Dice read out loud. Esas son las dos palabras que tú puedes poner en YouTube y entonces después de eso puede poner el nivel de grado que tú estás buscando.
Ok, gracias. Gracias, ya lo busqué.
Muy bien.
And then we had just one more question. The last question is from Yellen Mota. Yellen, if you can unmute yourself to ask your question. Si puede sacar el micrófono de mudo para poder hablar.
Hello.
Hi. Yes, I am concerned about the read to me books because my son is 10 years old already, and he's reading a lot of read to me books. So he is not actually reading. He let the computer to read to him. And I wanted to know if that is okay and is valid, or I have to make him take books from the library so he can read them actually.
Yes, absolutely. When I mentioned before about the read aloud, sometimes that's a way to spark, an interest for it, but it should grow from there. So absolutely, you should be taking your son to the library. He should be going there regularly. If there's a read to me book that he likes, that he was listening to, maybe you want to start with that book. And now that he knows the story, and when he opens it, he'll be able to begin to read it, on his own. Find some things that he's particularly interested in reading about. Is he interested in adventure books or books about animals or books about sports, whatever? Let him start to read more and more books like that. But by all means, he should be moving from the read to me and from the read aloud to independently reading books. And
so I should push him. So I should push him more to read actually paper books, right?
Yes.
Because he's getting too comfortable, and that scares me.
Yes. You want him to read that and make a big deal. So let me ask you, is there a particular read to me book that he likes a lot, or read aloud story that he likes a lot?
He's getting too comfortable, so he's putting all the books that he has to read between the school times. He started at 8 and he will be reading because he's online and he doesn't have a specific teacher right now. So he will be from 8 to 12 in reading books, but he will choose all the read it to me, not the ones that he have to actually read.
Okay. So if there's one that he likes a lot, does he have the actual book? Or
well, I try to make him, he has a little library over here.
Good.
He has
That's
over
great.
100 books already here.
Oh, very good.
So he can take, because in the library they give books away. So every time that before Corona we used to go to the library, he will choose some of them, and the ladies will save him some. So we have plenty over here and the kind that he likes, but he gets too comfortable with the reading to me and the ebooks that he's not taking the paper books anymore.
Okay, so you want grab one of the books that he can read well. And what is your son's name? Just his first name?
Luis.
I want to videotape you reading the book. I want to see you read it. And later on after it, look at the book Luis read. Let your family come and see him reading this book. You make a big deal of it, and he will feel a sense of pride about having that, and encourage him to do another one. And now let's send the video to a relative. Look at him. Look, he's doing this, and you want to make a big deal of it. You want him to see this is a good thing that he's doing. Or say to him, Louise, I like when you read that to me. Will you read another one to me? I enjoy listening to you read it. I love the way you take the voice of the, I don't know, something that happens in the book, something that he will be able to handle. I like the way you do that. Can you read that part for me again? So absolutely, you want to do some of these little, that's because I put some of those tips in the workshop when I was doing it, on little things that you can do to try to get your child to want to read more and read out loud. Definitely, we want him moving on. We want him not doing the same thing that he was doing at the beginning of the year as he's doing now. We want him reading out loud. We want him progressing at a little bit higher level, a little bit higher level, a little bit higher level. So we do those things to get them excited.
Thank you so much.
This
workshop has been awesome.
Oh, thank you so much. You made me very happy. Thank you. I appreciate that.
Thank you.
Okay, so Janet is having a bit of her own technical difficulties, so we'll go to the Q&A. So I'll read them. I'll read the ones that I can aloud. So this parent is asking about where to access a list of books that are on grade level for their students. And then also, should students in advanced academics still receive the home connection letters?
First of all students should receive a home connection letter because it lets you know where your child is right now, whether they are, advanced at grade level, on grade level, or below grade level. That lets you know where your child is right now and some tips that you can do to move them along even further. Okay, so obviously if they're above reading level, they probably have already been hooked into books. And so it's, maybe is not as much of a worry about whether or not they're reading enough, because they've obviously are very much involved in reading and enjoy it a lot. So yes, they should get the home connection letter anyway, and just to let them know where they are right now. And I'm sorry, the first question that you asked me, can you just repeat that?
Resources for a list of books.
Yes, the connection letter provides some suggestions on it, but also when you go to any library and you ask, you let them know like what grade level your child's, almost every librarian can point you to a particular section. When your children have the one-to-one sessions with the teachers will let them know, here are some titles that you can work with. This is what you should look for in a book, this particular level. So their child may know already from the one-to-one conferences that they were having, and your librarian at the library will know as well. I know that some libraries are not open fully right now, but there are a lot of services online. And I know that my local library, if you email them a question, they do, follow back and you can go and pick up books, you let them know in advance and they'll have them ready for you so they can suggest some levels that your child would be appropriate for your child.
Okay, great. And so then, go ahead, Jen.
Tech is not being friendly to us tonight, but that's okay.
Actually, we're all set with questions.
Oh, good. Well, I want to thank you, and I want to thank all of the parents. This was a pleasure for me to be here. Thank you all.
Clarice, we have a couple more questions. Turn your sound off. Turn your sound off. We have. Hello, folks. We have two more questions about if parents have access to the ARC curriculum and suggested reading lists if they're homeschooling their child. And then the other question is related, asking about who parents should contact who have children in the school district if they didn't receive the letter.
Okay, if you did not receive the letter, you can email your child's teacher and ask for the letter. All right, so that's something that you can email them tonight and ask for that ARC home connection letter. That's not a problem at all. And if you are, I just want to make sure I understood the question correctly. If they're not in the actual brick and mortar school, but if they're learning from distance, is that correct? Or did I misunderstand that?
I think it's specifically homeschooling,
Oh,
if they have access to it.
Okay, if it's homes, this is a curriculum that was purchased a portion of it is online, certain pieces of it is online. We can definitely work, if they're a child that lives within the district, we could definitely work on getting some of the text to the child. And I can also offer you some suggestions on how to determine the grade level that your child is reading at, so that we could match them to the books. What they should do is they should email our superintendent's office. You can email me. I will put my email in the chat and follow up with me on some steps that you can take if you want to find out more about how to make sure that your child is matched well with books and making next steps. I'm going to put my email in the chat right now.
Clarice, while you're typing your email in the chat, there is one question in Spanish from a parent, if you don't mind me asking it on her behalf. So the parent asked, she's a parent of a fourth grader, and she says right now at home they only speak Spanish, and there's a little bit of trouble with reading, and at least that's what she heard from the teacher. So her question is reading good to practice if they only speak Spanish? Does that help them, or does it have to be in English only that they learn to read?
Developing a love of reading is very, very important. So if the child loves to read in Spanish, let the child continue to read in Spanish and also introduce stories in English as well. The child will become bilingual. Okay, and that is a tremendous bonus. That is, I wish I was bilingual. I wish I was. The child may want to start off with some of the read alouds to see, the pictures at the grade level as the story is read, and they will start to pick up, and they can be matched with books at the appropriate level of English. But I would keep being prolific with reading in Spanish as I am learning to read in English, and to be able to do both is great.
Do we have any more raised hands? We can, no, we're all set. Clarice, thank you so much for your time. I know we went over a little bit here for your presentation. We're getting a lot of great feedback from our parents. The information you've shared has been invaluable. So thank you so much. I'm sure that, we'll be able to share some of the information that you provided to us today. So thank you so much. I know this is not the last time that you'll be, partnering with us to help our families understand ARC a little bit better.
Mm-hmm.
So thank you so much for your time.
Thank you. Thank you for inviting me. I loved it. Thank you.
Thank you, Clarice. Have a good night, Clarice.
Bye-bye.
Okay, parents, do not leave. We're going to do our drawing now. And also we actually will be sending a Google form, which is the feedback form. So again, we still have 60 families that are on this call. So please look at your chat, and we're going to put a link there. So we need your feedback this evening, okay? So a lot of you gave us a lot of great feedback about Clarice's information. So we need to capture a few other questions that we have for you, so that way we can get better at the different workshops that we're offering you, not only for this year, but also for future school years. So in a few minutes, or is it there already? Okay, so look at your chat. You'll see a link. If you can press on that link, and the questions will appear. And so if you can take a few minutes to complete this feedback form will also automatically enter you in the drawing that I had shared with you earlier of the different prizes. And I'm going to read out loud so that way you can, just a reminder. So we have 6 prizes this evening. The first prize is a family 4-pack of free admission tickets to the zoo, Roger Williams Park Zoo. We also have 2 different gift cards, $10 gift cards to Walmart. And we also have a gift card from a pizza restaurant right here near our administration office. It's called Nice Slice. Again, that one is a $25 gift card. And we have three different packs of 4 free admission tickets to the zoo. So please complete the feedback form. Take a few minutes to tell us your opinion and your feedback about the workshop this evening. We know that ARC is a new curriculum for the district. We want to hear your feedback and also your experience. Some of you did share today with questions and answers. And so we have a timer here, a 3-minute timer. I'm just giving you 3 minutes to make sure that you can fill out the Google form. And Jonathan will go ahead and let me know once we are ready, and especially just trying to make sure that most of you complete the Google form. While we wait, so again, you can find the link in the chat. Jonathan, if you can enter it again on the chat, I know that families like to see it right, so that they can grab it very quickly. So if you go onto the chat again, you'll see the link. If you can complete those questions. And just a reminder that after today, we have one other workshop this week. It's this Wednesday. The workshop is Paying and Saving for College. This workshop is geared towards our families that have students in high school, 9th grade through 12th grade. And while your student might be in the 12th grade, this is obviously very important to you because most likely you are in that process right now, trying to figure out completing the FAFSA financial aid for next year. So please make sure that you join us. The College Planning Center is who will be presenting. They have a lot of information, a lot of guidance in terms of scholarships. So please, if you know of any family that might not be on the call this evening, please, and if you know that they have high school students, to just join us, that even if their student might be in 9th grade, that it will be helpful for them to just start thinking about, the 12th grade. At this point, the years are going by very quickly. So you want to know your options now. So it's not too early to learn about paying and saving for college. So that would be for Wednesday, March 31st. It will be this same link that you used this evening. So if you know of another family, you can go ahead and share that link. But for the most part, the poll that we conducted earlier in this session, we mentioned we wanted to know exactly how families are learning about these Parent Academy sessions. And most of you have said through our text. And so please make sure that you review the text that you are receiving from us. These texts will include the flyer of the Parent Academy, which run through the month of May. And again, it will have the Zoom link. So make sure again that you jump on the call on Wednesday. If not, during the month of April, you got on this call today, you do have access to the flyer and you'll see the options for the month of April. And so again, we just want to make sure that you're responding to the feedback form. Our countdown is getting close to 10 seconds. So we just want to make sure.
We have about 22 responses right now.
Okay. So families, we're going to give you another minute. So if you can just take another minute, please, for those of you who are probably in the middle of completing the Google form, right ahead and complete the questions. Again, there's only like 5 or 6 questions. So again, we just want to learn what were your thoughts on this workshop. Thank you so much for those of you who did complete the survey. Okay, so we're going to get ready for the drawing very soon. Jonathan, you tell us when. And for those of you who did complete the feedback form, you will be entered into this drawing. Very soon you'll see a wheel right on your screen. And we will enter the names of folks that did complete the Google form, the feedback form. And then you'll see who was actually chosen or selected from the drawing. And again, the first prize is a family 4-pack free admission ticket to Roger Williams Park Zoo. Jeanette Bueno. Congratulations, Jeanette. Okay, second prize. Second prize is a $10 Walmart gift card. Okay, again, $10 Walmart gift card. And this is for Laurisa Monegro Ramirez. Just a reminder for those of you, again, for the third prize, a family 4-pack free admission tickets to Roger Williams Zoo. And the winner is Rosa Gonzalez. Congratulations to Rosa. Again, our next prize is the 4-pack free admission tickets to Roger Williams. Okay, and the winner is Gonzalez. The next prize is a $10 Walmart gift card. Who can it be? Who's the winner? Okay. All right. Joanne Pereira. And the last prize, the Nice Slice $25 gift card. This is the final prize for this evening. Okay, and the winner is Anela Jaime. Okay, congratulations to everyone who won this evening. Thank you so much again for all of you for attending tonight's Parent Academy. Again, for our winners, we will be reaching out to you most likely tomorrow to arrange and coordinate the pickup of your prizes. So again, thank you so much everyone for joining us. Thank you, Delia Rodriguez Masfan, for helping us out tonight with translation. We really appreciate it. And the rest of the FACE team, thank you so much. And so again, a reminder, we have one more workshop this Wednesday, March 31st, Paying and Saving for College. So we will see you on Wednesday for those of you who have children or students in the high school. Other than that, have a great week. Thank you so much.